Guys, welcome back to Hear Our Voices. This is your host, Khadijah D, and this is the Hear Our Voices podcast where we tell stories, give resources, and change the narrative of homelessness. Guys, thank you again for making us reach 100 subscribers on YouTube. It might sound small, but everybody has to start somewhere. And I thank you guys so much. Thank you for following us on our other social media platforms. We are also going there slowly but surely. Guys, we are hiring for the Fab. So if you would love to be a part of the Fab, to be required for this particular role, you have to be have homelessness experience as you as a child, doubled up, eviction, those kind of stuff, in a shelter, in a car, any way you were homeless, we would love to have you on our team. With your, either you were the child with your parent or grandparent. It doesn't, long you were a child when this was happening, or you could be the parent or guardian with this child who's under 21. So we'd love to hear from you. Send us over your resume to nychearourvoices at gmail.com. And we'd love to hear from you guys. If you send one email, we missed it by accident, definitely send it again. We'd love to have you on our team. And we're trying to build out our team, guys. So if you're a person who would like to be in the fight of the Hear Our Voices, saying with anything with our policy, with volunteering, those things will be down below, and you will see a Google document that you can fill out and tell us that you want to be a part of our crew. With volunteering, anybody can volunteer, so don't have to be no lived experience, but to be a part of the Family Action Board is where all the magic happens, I should say. You do have to have lived experience, but if you want to help us organizing with policy and things like that, those things you do not need lived experience in. We just need people to help us elevate our voice and to carry us over the finish line to change these policies to make sure, even though we're not homeless right now, we want to help the future of homelessness in New York City and hopefully on the federal level one day. So we'll love to have you as our backative. So definitely look down for the link down below on that particular thing. Yes. So what's another thing? I'm just saying thank you for coming back. Follow us on all our social media, Instagram, TikTok, things like that. We do have a family action board Instagram page that is also being grown. So guys, look in our link tree and I'll definitely have everything in there for you. Just listen to Stephanie's story. I know we heard her before a couple of years ago, but now this is her updated story about what's happening now, where she is. And you might hear her in the future podcast. So definitely check that out, guys.
On her
Later on.
own. I would love them to have a relationship, but people don't change. And unless she has that safety factor, that physical safety, emotional safety, mental safety, she's not going to want to be around you. And it has absolutely nothing to do with me. She goes to school on her own. If she wants to hang out with you after school one day, that's perfectly fine. I just want it communicated. I know where she is. She knows. She knows. She tells me where she is. Right.
Right.
She's gonna go see her dad. It's fine. I don't stand in that. So it's just unfair for you to bring me back to court and try to have me arrested, bro. Like, what are we doing? So all those things, new job, new apartment, thriving, things happening, I guess contributed to him just not getting the attention he wanted. So, but long story short, he dropped his petition like 2 3 weeks ago because, sir, we're not doing this again. But ultimately, um, right now I sit on a couple of advisory boards and committees like the Health and Housing Lab Speakers Bureau and Peer Network, NYU, Grossman School of Medicine. They have a Speakers Bureau, and I'm a part of Cohort 2. So this is still fairly new, and we're still working on our bios, but generally it's working advocacy, research, education to kind of, let people know about the intersection of health and housing issues,
Right.
and how, homelessness affects your health and it's great to just be able to be in the room kind of talking about these things so that stakeholders will have more information and hopefully make systemic changes that will lessen you know issues that come up because of a lack of homelessness. I'm also doing an advisory board for NYU Housing Choice Voucher. It's like a kid study. They're basically looking at how being in shelter affected children, birth through five, who were there, developmentally, if it impacted, their nutrition for one, if they, if it impacted their physical development and meeting milestones. Um, just generally trying to gauge data about that for the powers that be as well. I'm doing another shelter board, developing shelter with Diana Rosenthal. That's also at NYU.
Mm.
Um, I'm still on the advisory board at NGBV. That's the Office to End Gender Based Violence. I'm co-chair for that actually, and that's comprised of 21 or so agencies across the city who do intimate partner violence work, sexual violence, elderly abuse, um, and they represent most of the most marginalized people across New York City. So it's just great to be able to work with such a committed group of individuals. Like right now, they have downgraded the mayor's office. It's no longer a standalone mayoral office, the NGB office. And there's like a campaign to kind of get that reinstated because the issues overlap, right? DV and intimate partner violence is the leading cause of homelessness in New York City. Not eviction, not any of that other thing. And there's certain people who also fall under that, LGBTQ people. They're one of the populations that also drives homelessness, and their their issues are also dealt with under NGBV's umbrella. So I feel like we don't want, all the progress that has been made over the last 25 years to kind of get pushed to the side. And um, the idea of community safety being separate from safety in the homes is a dangerous one, because if we don't have safe homes, how do we have safe communities? That literally begins with safety in the homes. When an NYPD cop goes on a call, a DV call, he is 100% more likely to die than any other call. And that's a statistic that people don't talk about, which is crazy to me, that they are more likely to die on a DV call than anything else. But you don't want to talk about DV and in relation to community safety. Gun violence is very important, but gun violence is also caused by DV, right? A
Right.
lot of survivors have been killed. NGBV has a New York fatality review where they keep track of all the fatalities yearly, and it's mind blowing. We don't hear about most of the people who are killed. And it's mostly women and children because they're taking out the whole family. There's also, they call them,
Family annihilators.
yes, yes, girl, the
I watch a lot
family.
of forever. Yes, I watch a lot of true crime. Like it's not true crime. What's that thing? A lot of those crime shows. I
What I'm
love
talking
them.
about.
I don't like the violence, but I love the shows. Like, what have those?
because
Yes.
it's real life. It's real life, and it's sometimes, and I get you watching it because like you're vicariously experiencing this and you're getting awareness and building discernment and all these things because let's just face it, nobody gets with somebody and thinks, okay, they're gonna kill me,
Right.
right? Nobody does that. So what DV awareness does is we talk about it, and in talking about it, it spreads more awareness. People, it's not just being hit, it's control, and usually even when they don't hit you, they'll kill you before
Right.
they hit you.
Yeah.
Them narcissists and coercive controllers will kill you before they hit you.
It's true.
So that is an important point to make, right? Because it's losing control drives them over the edge.
Right.
And when a woman leaves or anyone leaves their intimate partner, that period after separation, that post separation period is the most dangerous time for her. So um that's where I'm at. I'm still doing the work, and just talking about how all the parts intersect, because the financial piece, of rebuilding your life after fleeing DV and thriving again, like that is one reason I am going into social work. I want to help address trauma because unaddressed trauma really accounts for a lot of things. It, accounts for that block that people still have even after they leave that prevents them from kind of thriving and moving to that next level of life.
Right.
Personally, I didn't address my trauma, and even though I was still actively like in court and going through these things for years, initially I wasn't talking about it like how I should have been and processing it in like a healthy way. So I can look back and be like, yeah, I forgive myself for the ways that I learned to cope, but I can also be aware that not addressing it did negatively impact, my life, right? So that's I love it. I love the whole idea of working with women and young children. And, because kids have a lot of experiences and trauma is different kinds of trauma and it manifests in different ways. And it's just interesting to me how that works. And so, that's ultimately what I'm doing. I'm going a clinical route. But
Um,
life is, life in as always, right?
that's true. So you said a lot. So I'm trying to recap what you said in my mind. One thing what highlighted in the beginning of what you said is about the program that New Destiny, if I got it properly for right, and they made you take like a training before you moved out. I think that training for in general when they give out vouchers should have been done before, especially with shelters. A lot of times people they have a big turnover rate with like case managers and housing specialists. Maybe there should be a video in different languages to make sure people actually understand what the voucher's about. A lot of times they push them out of the shelter when they actually do
Mm-hmm.
their job. With the ones who actually doing their job, when they actually put them out of shelter, they like my hands are washed. They don't have to know what's going on. But the fact of the matter, people need to know a lot of things about the vouchers when they have to recertify what income they will have to keep to have it.
Yeah,
They have to also
yeah,
have to be informed when if they make a certain amount, you might lose your voucher. So basically, if you want to make better
yeah,
in your life, you might lose a voucher. And can you, like you said, can you afford if you want to buy these luxury apartments look nice? Some of them have gyms, some of them have pool and all these things. They have all these things, but the problem is that if this voucher falls off, are you able to afford this voucher
That
The
was a
voucher
big
falls off.
concern. That's a big concern. And I feel like enough people are not talking about that piece. I don't hear enough conversations about that piece for my satisfaction.
Right.
And I'm just one little person. You know what I mean?
Right.
Um, I'm just one former case manager. Like, I'm not even actively in the field like that with clients. I was one case manager at one agency.
Right.
And I had at least 20 clients that I was concerned about them and these affordable housing buildings and their vouchers. Now, now that EHV is coming to an end, I think of people who rents are like 4,500
Right. Which is insane as
and
it
their rent
but
portion is $53.
right.
That's $5,000. Like, that is $5,000. A lot of those people, hopefully, won't end up into shelter, but they're gonna have issues keeping those apartments. And the whole recertification process, I feel like people should be given an opportunity. Give people a couple years with a fixed rent portion. I've said this before. Because when their income goes up, you recertify, and then you get a new job 3 months after recertification, and you go and give in that information. Your case is not updated necessarily. A year later, you get another recert packet, and the job that they have down is not the information that you uploaded. It's not the pay stubs that you dropped off. What is happening? What is happening? And it creates a problem because then you don't know what your rent portion. I mean, the information is incorrect. Like, it seems like things aren't adding up when it's just a slow process of information.
Right.
Those the research process is a nightmare.
No sure is.
It's a nightmare.
So it brought up a lot of different things. If you don't know, guys, so H the emergency housing voucher was put out in COVID because we were in emergency, and as they should have put out more and put more money into it. But I digress. If they would have put out more, people would still be in a bigger problem now than before. But who am I? Only a lonely podcaster. So they gave some to NYCHA, which does like Section 8, Section 9, and they gave some to HPD. And right now, what they have at this moment in time when I'm doing this podcast, right? I don't have no updated information past this day. Today, I think is the 27th to 28th. No, lie. Oh my gosh. April 2nd. I'm still in March, guys. I'm so sorry. So on April 2nd, 2026, this is the information that I have updated at the moment. So HPD, no, it's HUD, right? I think it was HUD. It's a HUD. Sorry, guys. Correct myself. Had those vouchers, and they have made sure that their particular clients, like well, Stephanie's one of their clients, they had a smaller portion of people. I want to say it's like 2,000. The numbers could be wrong. I went in a meeting with this other day, but things,
Yeah, it's about 2,000.
2,000 people who are on that
Initially, it was
particular.
1,003. It was 1,100 and something, but it went up.
Got
It's
you.
about 2,000.
So those people have the voucher. And that particular agency was like, we know this is going to come to an end. So we want to prepare you. And they put out notices to clients in 500 batches. So they did several batches of 500 to make up to that number, basically, if you know, do the math. And they made sure they came up with a plan. The people last year was just like, oh my God, it's ending. Da, da, da. So it made people already, they was traumatized from shelter or just being housing insecure in general. And now a couple of years later, they have to go back through the same turmoil again
Crazy.
with this problem. So what they actually are doing, they came up with a program with home TBR or TBR. I forgot there's a lot of acronyms, like I said in the previous point, but I just call it home for easy. And they made up a program that's gonna roll into the EHV voucher holders, but that I'm gonna say it's HUD, was it HPDs? Whoever owns that particular small batch, they are going to be rolling over into that new program, right? The problem that we have here, and I'm happy that they did that because we were very concerned. The problem that the other vouchers, which is 5,200 and change of people from the NYCHA batch, because they have the biggest one, which honestly, I don't know why they would give that to NYCHA when they're already struggling with the Section 8 and Section 8, 9 clients who live in NYCHA project developments. But I digress.
Mhm.
Sometimes if we see them struggling, why would we give them more things to struggle about? But who am I to tell them that they're not correct? So right now, as the first batch, people A got a notice saying, congratulations, not congratulations, but like, that's the next step we have. I know this is a bad situation. We're helping you. The people from the NYCHA, who holds the NYCHA vouchers, are getting a different notice. We don't know what we're going to do, basically. In a nutshell, we have no recourse for you. This is
Oh
coming to
wow.
an end, and we have nothing we can give you. That's a problem. First of all, it's basically the same voucher, but it went to different holders, and that's what happens sometimes when we have these programs and we put different people in charge of it. And once I get like basically it was like a pilot program. Basically, technically, it was a pilot program in a way if you think about it. That one
Hmm.
group gets amazing, and the other group is a hot mess, and it's like that's a problem.
Right.
So right
Right.
now, the people who live in the NYCHA holds vouchers, they don't have no recourse right now. At this moment, right now, there could be some courtroom or some back alley somewhere making up a whole and having a whole draft. And I don't know, 'cause I'm not part of that table right now. But for right now, April 2nd, 2026, that's the information I
They
have.
want time.
So
Right.
that is a problem for me, and I'm not sure when this episode is gonna come out. It might come out because we did an episode earlier today, so it might come out in about 2 weeks. So by then, it might be some different information. But the point is that
Right.
why should people be struggling and thinking these people are DV individuals? They are youth.
They being
Um,
traumatized.
they are traumatized already. And a lot of people
Right.
also from these lists are not first generation homeless. They have second generation homelessness. Because most time homelessness, it I hope it don't happen to my
It's
daughter. I don't want it to
generational.
happen. It's a generational thing. So they had it as a child, they has it as an adult. And it's not like they wanted this to happen, it just happened to them, right? So we got to think about when we put these services in place in case something backs up or stop, we need to always have a B C. The problem with I think I'm not saying America or just people in general, we only want to we know problems can happen, but we don't want to have a landing like a cushion in case something happens. We wait till it happens to say, "Oh, now we need help." Example: the Spanish flu. COVID was not the first time that they had a problem with sickness like this, right? They had the Black Plague. They have all these things in history that if something hits one or two people, everybody gets it, a mass people of people, there's death and they try to like, oh, maybe we should keep it. The thing is that before a problem happens, you have to prepare for it. Just like people with hurricane disaster zones or tornado, like tornado, you go in a safe place. But if you go like something, if a fire is happening, you don't stand there like, hopefully it doesn't happen to me. You might have to run, babes. You might have to run. Prepare yourself so in case when you do have to run when that fire comes, you have a book bag nearby the front door with some snacks. Maybe you'll have copies of your birth certificate in case you don't get that fast enough. Honestly, stuff like that, birth certificate, all that stuff should be in one area and a place was like fire resistant. But if your whole house is going down, make sure you run with that baby. Because it's gonna be hard to kind of replenish that, especially if you don't have no ID and nothing like that. I'm just saying, I know somebody who had a fire and it was hard to get her paperwork back. I just want you to have that together. But I don't think we prepare enough for these particular things. And I think that we need help with that. We're always we're always in general doing these things and just thinking is okay. We need to always be prepared before our problems happen. I don't know what's going on. COVID happened. We're like, oh, it wasn't the first time an incident like this happened. We should be prepared and make sure we have things in place so when a breakout does happen, we know that we need to do housing, people need food. We shouldn't be thinking on a job when this is happening. This is not the first time. We should always be prepared in case anything happens. A stock market could crash. 9/11 happened. Rest in peace to those people who, disasters are always gonna come. A Sandy is always gonna come. A Katrina is always gonna come. Right? I'm saying? So we need to put things in place. So when things do happen, we have a fallback plan at all time. And I think there's a problem we have with our government. We pay into the system and the system is not working for us. I
Right.
should have to think about working and doing all this stuff. Your job is to take care of us. So you should have to
The
come up with a fallback plan.
response
Like, come
is
on.
the response. That's the thing, right?
Right.
They respond to the problem after the fact,
Yes.
and we're grateful for responding, but like a lot of these things are preventable, and they're manageable before it escalates. But then, what I've learned, I've read something a while ago, and they were talking about that same 9/11
Right.
and how it was preventable because they had gotten like information before.
Right.
But that's just one thing that is allowed to take place because like more money is spent to fix the issue. And if you follow the money, a lot of these things, private contractors are who um they call in to kind of, you know sort things out, and then those people are paid, and it's the same set of people who own the things that we need. It's capitalism. It's capitalism because if we need weapons, say for 9/11, a lot of money was spent on defense after the fact.
Right.
Who made that money, right?
Right.
Who were the people that they were buying from? Who were getting those contracts? That's the question. And it has to be a whole change in just the general attitude of people at the top. Like, take care of everybody before you have to take care of everybody. And they don't want to do that. But if more of us who need taking care of are loud enough, I feel like they can't ignore us. It's more of us than them. Right now, it's even more important than any other time in history to use your voice and to create and to document what's going on. 50 years from now, some kid is going to write about what's going on right now.
Right.
And they're going to judge us, and they're going to analyze our response. Because a lot of us are just our life is just happening to a lot of us.
It's true.
Like they're unaware of what is happening. They're not, and you have to have some sort of break from reality, yeah, but you have to be rooted in reality, and your feet have to be grounded. Like, this is what is happening, and things are getting worse, and they're gonna get worse before they get better. And like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Or like, even if you're just observing, but just don't be caught off guard. Like, this is real.
It is.
And it's not, as I said, it's not going to be better before it gets worse.
It's true. But yes, Stephanie, thank you for still being an advocate. Thank you for using your voice. A lot of times when people go through these situations, it's hard for them to speak about it and get help for it and to be able to be a voice for others. So I thank all the advocates out there who use their voice, who use their trauma into making the world a better place. It's a hard job. It's hard and it's not hard. I think it's very rewarding in that way that we can use our experiences to make it a career, to be honest. and that we are able to help others and be able to help others get out of the dirt of whatever it is, whether it's benefits or being homeless or just different things like that. Whoever is an advocate out there for even tenants' rights, thank you for using your voice. Not everybody can do it. Not everybody wants to do it. As you can see, when we have rallies, we having 2.5 people there, and we need really 1,000 to be there to make sure the cause get pushed through and have these elective officials do their job because they work for us, right? So,
Yeah,
thank you so much. Thank you for being on. Do you have any last words that you would like to tell the people?
just that we need to remember that we do still have the power. Um, and that doesn't mean rah 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 in the streets all the time.
Right,
That also means measured action, and wise decisions. Um, and remember, two things can be true at once, right? It's hard, but it's possible to
right.
make change and make things okay for everybody. It's not, I don't feel like it's some far-fetched dream that everybody has a home, and everybody has a base, and that we take care of the people who will never be able to take care of themselves. I feel like we spend $2 billion a day on this war. It's gonna cost us in the future, and we have to plan for that. We have to figure out how we're gonna respond to the gray wave of homelessness. A lot of elderly people are on these streets,
Yes, they are.
and we just have to take better care of each other. And that's um my last thought.
Got you.
Thank
No problem. Thank you again for coming on, Stephanie, and sharing your wisdom in your life and showing us how the system is after homelessness and that we don't have to stay there. It'll be depressing a little bit after you get out. Even people think that when you move out, it's just like sunshines and rainbows, but some people didn't have much before they went into shelter. So after shelter is not as easy as you might think. So be sympathetic and be nice to your neighbors, be nice to your friends, and be an open ear and not a judgmental person. That can really affect people around you. But again, follow us on all our social media platform. This is your host, Khadijah D. And thank you for listening to Hear Our Voices. See you next time. Bye.